Hello, my name is John Humphreys. I am the Florida Department of Environmental Protection's Mitigation Banking and Uniform Mitigation Assessment Method Coordinator. This video is the second in a four-part series dealing with landscape ecology and terms and concepts often discussed as part of the Uniform Mitigation Assessment Method's location and landscape support scoring attributes. Concepts covered by this video include edge effect and habitat fragmentation and loss. What are edges? Edges are the boundaries between distinct patches, natural communities, or habitats. They can be thought of as being analogous to a cellular membrane in that they determine a patch's permeability. Edges can be described in terms of contrast or the degree to which they facilitate or inhibit species movement, plant recruitment, and energy transfer. To describe the degree of contrast exhibited by an edge, a scale of reference can be inferred ranging from low contrast to high contrast. High contrast edges can be easily discerned on maps, aerials, and wild and field. These areas, such as roads, rivers, agricultural fields, and the like, are typically linear in appearance and constrain or resist species movement. By way of comparison, low contrast edges, such as wide natural ecotones, are often referred to as soft or diffuse boundaries, as they are generally less linear and more irregular in appearance. Low contrast edges better facilitate species movement. This aerial image of natural communities located in the Apalachicola National Forest depicts low contrast edges. By way of comparison, this aerial image of suburban landscape depicts high contrast edges. What are edge effects? The zone or area located in close proximity to a patch boundary experiences increased levels of biotic and abiotic interaction relative to the patch's core. This zone of influence is subject to elevated levels of structural disturbance and functional alteration. Comparatively, that portion of a patch lying interior to the zone of influence exhibits greater sustainability as a result of being subject to less frequent and less intense disturbance. This area is called the core habitat or core patch. What is known about edge effects? Several generalizations can be made about edge effects, including the influence of the patch's perimeter to area ratio, the depth of influence exhibited by various types of near-edge interaction, and the degree to which composition factors intensify edge effects. Patch shape, or the area-to-perimeter relationship exhibited by a patch, is a leading factor in determining that patch's susceptibility to edge effects. The greater the length of perimeter shown by a natural community or ecological patch, the more that particular community or patch experiences biotic and abiotic disturbance. Abiotic and biotic factors influence patch integrity to varying depths. Edge effects can cause abiotic factors such as light penetration, temperature, and the frequency of tree falls to increase near the patch perimeter. Increased light penetration and temperature can also combine to decrease humidity, altering what would otherwise be naturally attenuated microclimate. Abiotic factors typically exhibit influence over a range of 30 to 250 feet distance from the edge. Biotic factors, such as increased rates of species invasion or disturbance by domestic animals, are also often observed near the patch edge. These factors combine to reduce the patch's native diversity and typically penetrate much further into core habitat than do abiotic factors, often at ranges between 250 and 750 feet. The presence of landscape composition factors can also influence the degree to which a patch is subject to edge effects. Recall from the previous video in this series that composition refers to the type and number of different patches in the landscape. Certain kinds of patches or land cover types, when in proximity to an assessment area, may intensify or even supersede local edge effects. For example, if an abundance of urbanized or developed patches are located in proximity to a focal assessment area, there is an increased likelihood that anthropogenic disturbance will be present at the assessment area's edge, or that the area's zone of influence will penetrate further into core habitat. As another example, increased levels of what would otherwise be natural predation can be identified at patch edges adjacently located next to open expanses of pasture or rangeland, because these open areas offer little or no cover to prey species and thereby increase their vulnerability to predators. Habitat fragmentation and loss refers to the fracturing and reduction of habitat or patches through time. Fragmentation is a continuous process, often initiated with perforation of an intact community. In time, through natural or anthropogenic influence, areas of perforation may be joined so as to bisect the previously existing community. Perforation and bisection then proceed independently within each portion of the remaining habitat. This is called fragmentation. Fragmentation alters the perimeter to area ratio of the resulting subpatches, thereby serving as a driver for edge effects. Increased edge effect in turn disturbs near perimeter structure, leading to a reduction and the eventual loss of habitat. The corollary to this process of structural degradation is the associated loss of patch function. Recall from the previous video in this series that structure and function are fundamentally linked. Thus, the loss of structure can result in the loss of function. Here, an intact community is depicted as an interconnected network. The network exhibits high connectivity and serves to buffer the system against extinction and invasion, and thereby maintains native diversity and a high level of self-sustaining function. As linkages are severed through time and functional decay diminishes patch buffering capacity, communities will be subjected to increased invasion and extinction risk and a reduced level of native diversity and function. This process culminates in a fractured landscape or complete habitat loss. For additional information, please visit the Uniform Mitigation Assessment Method website. Thank you.